Thanks so much for joining us. This is the MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness Fair for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest, many online, and this is our online fair. We started so many years ago now, and we're excited to continue doing this. We should have about 13, 14 of us here tonight. We will introduce ourselves so you know who we are and what we're going to be doing here today. And then we've got tons of talks that will be happening. We're going to be doing an intuitive panel during the first hour. So we'll have practitioners answering questions from the audience. If you'd like to ask a question, please let us know and we will get you in line. I see some people are letting us know in the chat already that they're interested. That's great. We give priority to people that have never asked a question in one of our panels before. Oh, great. Anis and I are both doing the same thing. Okay, Anis is on it. So if you've never asked a question before in our online fair, do let us know it's your first time and we'll make sure to put you towards the front of the line. All right, let's see. Well, how about let's get started doing our introductions so you know who's going to be here, and then we'll share more about how all this works as we go along. So Crystal, you got a minute. Tell us what you do.
All right. Hi, I'm Crystal Novak. I'm a psychic intuitive reader, and I also do energy work. I've been doing this for about 40 years. I get information from source, and I share that information with you, whatever is pertinent and relevant in the moment for you to have information about. My goal is to provide you with this information so that you can internalize it for yourself and make shifts for yourself, and let go of that's what's no longer serving you, so you can get to a different space with yourself. And then this evening I'm doing psychic readings by donation, and I look forward to having you come by. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Crystal. Hannah is next.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. My name is Hannah York with Holistic Healing by Hannah. And tonight I will be doing medical intuitive scans by donation. And these are a bit different than you might be expecting, but what I'll be doing is you'll come in with any goal or issue that you have, and then I'll scan your body and let you know where the energy is sitting in your body that's keeping you from achieving the goals that you desire, whether it is health, wellness, anything along those lines. And I'm happy to chat more if you have questions, but I'll see you guys all soon.
All right, we're running along fast. We've got Lincoln next and then Badra.
Hi, my name is Lincoln Stoller. I'm a physicist and a psychotherapist who does hypnotherapy and spiritual work. Well, that's my purpose in working with people. So I'm talking tonight about love, heartbreak, science, and mysticism in 2 different talks, which you can find on the schedule. And I have a breakout room where I'm just going to talk to people who come, and usually few enough people come that I can get rather personal. And, you know, there's always possibility for more work, but hopefully I'll give you some ideas about how to put these topics together. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Badra. I'm a wellness advocate. I help people who want to heal their bodies without using any drugs or chemicals holistically. A lot of us are looking for things that work, and there's a lot of stuff out there, but it's hard to know what actually works. I have access to stem cell patches that we put on acupuncture points on your body, among other patches that we can use for inflammation, stress, physical pain, emotional pain. These are patented. There's clinical trials, so it's energy healing backed by science. I was really sick not too long ago, and I was introduced to these patches by a functional nutritionist, and it was just the thing that I needed to shift my body into a healing mode. And I went from being not very well to getting my life back and feeling good again, without using drugs and chemicals, because for me that didn't work. So a lot of us are looking for solutions like that. So if you're interested, just come to my breakout room. I'm doing my talk at 6:15, but I'll be available all night to talk to you and answer your questions. So I look forward to seeing you, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks so much, Badra. We've got, let's see, Brooke and then Angie and then Ellery.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Brooke Bucci, and I am a multi-dimensional and intuitive journey practitioner and energy healer. And I've also been a midwife, a nurse midwife for the last 12 years and attended over 1,100 births. And this experience helps me to specialize in womb chakra healing and deal with all kinds of reproductive issues, but in general as well, not just midwife to birthing babies, but midwife to the soul now, as I've moved into this energy work and helping people through major transitions in their life. And so I'm giving a talk at 6:30, just talking more about multidimensional energy healing, at 7 about restoring sacred self-esteem, and at 7:45 a sacred womb healing for the group, and at 8:30 doing multidimensional healing by donation. Welcome. Thanks.
Thanks, Angie.
Hi, I am Angie, and I am a spirit energy guide and a clairsentient psychic who help others understand where they're manifesting in their vibration and energy currently, where your blocks are, and how to get past those blocks. I focus on manifesting using the matrix of the universe. I help others learn how to channel, how to connect to the earth, how to balance their chakras, and how to break those old patterns and beliefs that we have ourselves in. We do this by doing shadow work, processing the trauma, learning how to be empathic and using the frequency and signals from the universe that are always talking to us. I'm doing 2 talks today, one on shadow work and releasing trauma, and another one manifesting through vibration and energy, I think at 8 o'clock. And I'm offering 2 discounts that are stem from this fair if you book an appointment with us, and that's 25 for 20 minutes or 50 for 60 minutes. So join me.
Thanks so much. And Ellery's next.
Hey everyone, I am Ellery, and I am a fairy reader, fairy hang out with the fae, see what the fae want to know, see what the fae want to tell you. I also do extensive work with labyrinths for personal development, self-exploration. I'm doing a talk this evening on labyrinths for meditation. And then I'll be doing fairy readings by donation in my breakout room. So stop in and say hi.
Great, thanks. And we've got more of us that should be coming. Let's see. So we've also got Licenciada Bruja. We were just talking about WhatsApping her. She's from Mexico. She shares messages from the universe, therapeutic Egyptian tarot, and pre-Hispanic cleanse, and she considers herself to be the Mexican witch. And we also have Shraddha joining us from India. Shraddha will be sharing pranic healing, tarot, and psychotherapy. And Susan Cimino will be sharing past life regression. And then Stacy Sam Lene will be sharing intuitive mediumship and Reiki. We might reorganize the talks. Oh, and Tony is going to be sharing channeled Reiki therapy. We might reorganize the talks a little bit if they're not yet here when their talks begin, but they've got like 45 minutes to get here before all that happens. So maybe that'll all be fine. All right, great. Planning ahead. Well, let's see. So we're going to get started doing an intuitive panel with the group of us that are here, getting started now, and then we'll do more introductions as people are arriving. Let's see. And Anissa, I was going to work on something, but now I'm not working on it. So yeah, I started. I may finish. All right, great. Yeah, so our intuitive panel is getting started. Anissa we are all multitasking over here. Anissa is texting Mexico and also posting in the chat. So we have 2 people in line that want to ask questions of the panel. If you want to ask a question of the panel, let us know in chat. And before we start answering, this is a great opportunity for everyone to practice opening to their intuition. If you want to get something to write with, draw on, scribble, draw or take notes or whatever as messages come through you. It's a great opportunity to get confirmation that what you're tapping into is similar to what we are and similar to what we share. Of course, you may have messages come through you that we happen to not mention that are totally valid. Let's see, it's great to learn from all that's asked and all that's answered, whether or not you ask a question. And if you want to ask a question, particularly since this is a recorded format that is going to go into the web, when you ask, if we go deeper than you want us to go, or we talk about topics you don't want to share about here, let us know, give us guidance. You can tell us to focus our answers from the beginning. And if we go off course in any way during the answers, please interrupt us and let us know. We're here to honor you in all of what we do. All right, well, let's see. So Kirsten is first in line. Kirsten, do you want to come up on stage with us? Can we bring you up here?
Yep.
All
Hi,
right.
everyone. I had a reading like 2 years ago and it was pretty spot on. I had like career questions, and I don't think the people that I talked to are here tonight, but they predicted that I should be in like a small office, like a small, business. And it worked out really well for me for about a year. 2 years down the road, we're here. I'm at a really weird crossroads in my life. I found out I was autistic and I have ADHD. I saw your email that came out like, I don't know, a year ago, and you're like, I found out I'm autistic. So I'm sure you can relate too. It's like, what just happened? So I'm at this really weird, like, what is life? Like everything that I thought that I knew about myself is like, no, it's something actually really different. So I feel like I'm at this weird crossroads where I'm trying to figure out, like, should I leave my job? I feel like I should. I feel like I'm getting taken advantage of there. And also, like, should I have a kid or should I just get a dog? Like, because I'm very confused with life. I'm 32, and I'm in a weird crossroads. So I don't know if anything's coming through for you guys. I just need a little guidance of like where to go from here.
Well, and maybe before we leap in answering, I want to share that for me, it opened up a whole bunch of new awareness. I definitely felt some waves of grief of like, oh, wow, this is why some things have been so hard and I couldn't connect with people the way I wanted. And then at the same time, it provided tons of insight for me of like, oh, this makes sense now. This makes sense now.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've actually changed much of anything. The biggest thing I've changed is I've given myself more permission to want the things and have the things that are quirky, that don't make sense to other people. I'm like, this is just what works for me.
Yeah.
So I feel more justified in that. So I'm curious about I'm curious how it's leading you to wonder about changing things up. Maybe it gives you more confidence about things, but it doesn't sound like you're coming from that place. So
it came as a huge relief. I was actually really happy to hear because I've been dismissed as having anxiety my whole life, but I knew it was something more. So as you said, I feel permission to be myself. And like, there's a lot of weird quirks that would, get me bullied throughout my career and childhood. And now it all makes sense. I could just I have an explanation now. If somebody's bullying me, I'm be like, there's a reason why I'm like this. So it gave me a lot of answers that I needed. I feel immense amount of joy, but there was also a lot of frustration of not knowing for 32 years that this was going on, having no assistance. So a lot of bittersweetness, but I'm finally like, it's settling in. And now I'm like, okay, what's the next path forward? How can I proceed forward with like this enlightened self that, has a lot to give, but is also very nervous to reveal this information?
great. Well, Crystal's in line. So let's get Crystal going. Well, thanks so much for asking your question.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Crystal. What's coming up around this is, it's really interesting because it feels like there's been a birth, like you feel like you've been born. And so like when babies first get here, there's kind of this fog around them because they're developing and all their systems are coming online. And that's the sense I'm getting that's happening for you. It's like you're kind of foggy and you're like, the friend of mine calls it Bambi legs. You have Bambi legs.
Yep, that's exactly.
Yeah. So what's coming is, and a great presence of divine feminine is coming through to, number one, say that they love you and they see you and they recognize you and they're holding you very close. And to also be patient and gentle with yourself as you continue through this process. And they're suggesting that you don't make any big decisions yet, that you get to know yourself better. I know you saying that, for 32 years, you had this happening and it feels kind of like now, who am I now? And that is the big question, who am I now? So they're suggesting that you follow whatever is calling you, and you can kind of make a metric by saying, does this feed me or is this taking away from me? And they want you to follow that thread. Because if you follow the feed me thread, then it's going to be in alignment with who you're becoming.
Yeah.
And you also feel like a flower bud, like you're starting to just unfold. And your energy vibrational rate is coming on board is a lot higher than it used to be as well. So that in turn is also going to create shifts in your reality, because things that no longer are in alignment with this new vibration, this higher vibration that you're carrying, are going to fall away. So you might notice some people fall away from your life experience. So it's just be open to what's now happening for you. And I see you're taking notes, which is great. And they're also suggesting that you journal as well.
Mhm. I've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, so you're on this new journey, and, you know, to summarize, be gentle with yourself, follow those threads, and don't have to get stuck on right or wrong right now. Just have the experience and sit with your experiences and see where they start taking you. And then you'll start to gel, if you will, and things will come together, and you'll be pulled more into the direction where you need to go.
I love it.
Great.
That sounds really good.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We've got Ellery in line next.
I'm gonna grab another pen really quick.
I'll wait for her to come back with a pen.
Yeah.
Here, okay.
Pens are important. Like, oh, I'm trying to write things. Where to go? So that question of who am I is such a big one. And since you're already journaling, what I would encourage you to do, and you can totally do this sitting in front of a mirror, or you can enlist a friend or a family member to help you with it, is to just look, you know, if you're using a mirror, look in the mirror and say, who are you, to your reflection? And then write down the first thing that comes to mind. And then ask it again, who are you? You can even say it out loud, change the way you inflect different words. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And what I found doing this with people is that we checklist through the easy labels really fast. I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I'm a wife, I'm a sister. We get through that, and then we start asking ourselves, who am I underneath all of those labels? Underneath all of those roles, who am I? And it just gives you a deeper dig into your identity.
I love it. That sounds fun. Sounds like a fun Friday night.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank
We've got
you.
Angie and then Brooke.
Hi.
Hi.
It sounds like a really exciting and stressful moment to find out that you have this, but I think what it gives you is a chance to open your awareness up now and find the struggles that you've been facing through your life because you didn't know you had this. And that now that you do understand kind of where you're coming from, find those struggles and blocks that you have come against and look at it now differently. Look at it from this perspective of who you are now. And that's not going to come automatic. That's going to be a day-to-day struggle. It's going to be a moment by moment, situation by situation struggle that you have to find yourself in, but keep your awareness open and remind yourself that you now know how you are different and start to live in integrity with that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And we've got Brooke.
Hi, Kirsten. It's good to
Hi.
connect with you.
Thank you.
The words coming through are soul voice and finding your soul voice. And so seeing a thread that is connected from, again, for me, very much about that womb space, from that womb space up to source or spirit or your higher self, whatever that makes sense for you. And hearing what is my soul voice, what is my inner wisdom, my intuition, and exactly what other people say, practicing, you know, the small things like turn left here or eat this or drink that, and, you know, the bigger things and trying it on and building that confidence in listening to your own intuition and your own soul voice.
I like that. I always felt that I have been very intuitive, like I can predict what's about to happen in my life and I do follow things. And it's usually like good situations that I get myself in. But I guess since my mind has been just all over the place, it's kind of harder to listen to that intuition. So I could silence it and actually listen to it again. I'm sure it'll steer me in a good direction.
Great. Great.
Thank you.
Kind of see if I have any particular feedback myself too. What work are you doing now and what makes you wonder about changing that up?
So I have been looking into like the traumatic experience of my life. I've been going back and like reliving that stuff, as heavy as that is. Doing a lot of journaling about that. There's this Unmasking Autism book that I've been reading. It's kind of like the Bible for newly diagnosed autistics. And it's basically like teaching you how to unmask and be your true self. And I'm just working my way through that really slowly and figure out how I can be true to myself and reveal this information or not to other people.
Do you feel
So
like you haven't been able to be, like there are ways you aren't letting yourself be there that are really hard, or is an environment that is particularly like traumatizing on you? Like, or it's not the work you want to do already? Like, is it like you already knew that, but you're facing it more?
yeah, I think with work, like in a professional setting, it's really hard to reveal that information about you because there's preconceived notions about being autistic that, you know, might scare people, like, oh, you're not going to do a good job or something, because there's these stereotypes. So in a work setting, it's like, I don't know if I should reveal this information to everyone. I've revealed it to a few people. And then with my own family, they haven't really been that supportive. I've been kind of alone in my journey, besides my husband. So I don't really have many people to like really talk to about it. And even like close friends, don't really have any. It's the autistic in me. I just don't have very many friends. So I'm very alone in my journey. And I think I get lost in my thoughts.
It's great. I guess so one thing that I'll do, and I commit to do that from this conversation, I feel grateful that I've met a lot of people in my life in the last couple of years that are really high functioning people that have autism and have realized, and a bunch of us realized together, but it's one by one adding them to my mix. I got to see like, oh, maybe I could, like I had a model for seeing how this could happen. And so I've got tons of people in my life. So I'll create an online way that we can all connect with each other. We've talked about doing that as a smaller group, and I'll just make it open to the public for a group of us to meet. And so we can all find each other in breakout rooms. And yeah, so I just, I work for myself, so that's easier, right? And I do all these events and I'm all about authenticity. So even though I felt a little like, I just sort of started blurting it out in the middle of all my events and on my newsletters. And so like I've come out of the closet in so many ways already, right? I'm queer and non-binary, and then the whole thing of being psychic and all my fears around that, and said, okay, so I have autism, so here's one more. So for me, it just got easy because I've got so many. So I think they'll give us more of a format for talking about all those things. I also never read any of those materials, so I didn't get the help from that. And I also didn't scare myself about any of that stuff at the same time. So yeah, just interesting things you bring up. And Dr. Lincoln's got something to share. And then thank you so much for leaping in and asking this question and talking about all this. It's great.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
I just wanted to add that, when people are diagnosed with things, they often think this is what they have. And in medicine, you have an infection or you have a disease. But in mental health and counseling, when they say you have or you are, it's not a thing. It's just a description of how other people want to relate to you. You aren't any of those things. You just aren't. It's just how you behave. There's no identity. No one can identify anything that makes you that. It's just the way people use to talk about you. So you really can define yourself any other way. You should just understand that these labels are just what our society is putting on you because who they think you are. But you don't have to find out what that means by reading a book. You can. You'll find out what other people think it means. But what it is to you is really, it's yours to define yourself. It's an invitation to, take it or leave it. Really, we should think that always, but it becomes clear when we're, typecast. So, if people tell you because you're this, you should do that, I don't necessarily believe that.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good point. Like I shouldn't let it define me. It's really just how other people see me. It's not an identifying thing. And yeah, I do like the fact that you said, like, define it yourself. Other people experienced it. They wrote a book about it, but it's different for each person. And that's why it's called a spectrum too. Like everybody's experiencing it differently. There's not one way of experiencing it. So yeah, I can define it in my own way. And it's really other people's views on me.
Autism is like a rainbow, it
Yep.
can be to the left or the right or the up or the down. says very little except that other people have a hard time figuring you out.
Yep. That's a very good point. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Lincoln. Thank you, practitioners, all for your responses. I know we spent a little bit more time here. Thank you, Kirsten, for getting us started
Yeah,
and
thank
for
you.
jumping in and having us all be able to learn together. All right, we've got B up next. B, do you want to come on stage? You want to ask from the seat?
Hi. Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What is your question?
Hello. Okay, good. I am struggling with a lot of stress, mainly from overdoing. I tend to be a type A, just try to do too much. And my being can't handle it. I'm just kind of like a fairy, like thin fairy, like being, and I just tend to overdo, like with gardening, like physical labor. And anyway, what happens is I lose my appetite, and I've lost a lot of weight and muscle, and just really struggling right now to just take it easy and to restore my appetite. But sometimes I wonder, when I lose my appetite, if it's something I ate or something I'm eating that I shouldn't eat. I'm a nutritionist and herbalist, so I eat really wholesomely, and my intuition tells me it's just the stress and fear and overdoing. I feel like I need to really, really rest completely, and that's just hard to do because I don't really have any help. But I'm just trying to. I feel like I have to take it easy and rest for a while, and in order to restore my appetite and kind of get back on my feet. I do have a big garden that I have to take care of. I'm just going to try and do like a half an hour a day and then stop. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on.
So you just want advice about that? Like, what do we see? What do we sense about this?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So I'll share a little bit first. Are you familiar with spoon theory?
I just heard about it last night on the program. Okay. It's like a little bit at a time.
So spoon theory is the idea is that you have so many spoons. You start off the day with like 20 spoons and thinking about each activity and how much of your energy it takes and how many spoons you've given away, so that you're gentle with yourself of knowing why you get so tired. You have a way of talking about it with other people. You have a way of making choices for yourself of how much energy each activity takes. So you choose, do you really want to do that? And the big insight that I want to bring is, I'm guessing that you grew up with someone that taught you to overdo, that taught you to do so much, that really shamed you if you didn't do enough.
No, not really. I just grew up with a mom who was very critical of me because I was like not this preppy, regular kind of girl. I was a wild, hippie is one way to describe me, but I just wasn't what she wanted. I was very artistic.
Exactly. You seem like you've got the creativity talent, which is typically very artistic and very sensitive to energy. Doesn't do well at the taking all that on and pushing hard.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I had a very hard time, like in school. Yeah, I had a very hard time with like writing papers and, academic stuff.
So I encourage you to honor what works for you. See how much you can identify and shed all these expectations and shoulds. And I'm guessing that you'll have a lot more of energy for the things that you really want to do. So I'd go through all the things that you do, everything that you do, and see how much you can find. Is it really a desire and is it a should? So I'm going to hand it off.
Yeah, I am doing that.
Yeah, so do it.
Yeah, I am doing that.
Yeah, and just go through it. I guess your mom would approve of something.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I already am kind of doing that. I guess I wanted insight more into what I need to do now. I feel like I really need to rest and
Yeah.
slow down. I am working on that. I'm really working on that. I mean, I'm just letting go of everything. I'm saying to myself, I'm going to do as little as possible, which is a huge, to get to that point in my life is, it's hard, but I feel like I'm to the point where I have to do it
No
because I feel like I'm
choice,
trying to
yeah.
save my life. I'm trying to save my life. I'm trying to
Sure.
get my appetite back so I can eat.
You are. So listen, Angie has something and Crystal has something. So Angie, go ahead.
Thank you.
When a lot of us are feeling like we're overdoing something, we are energetic beings, so we are out of balance. And a lot of this is like your solar plexus, like you're overactive, you're aggressive, you're competitive. You need to get this done. You need to get what you need to get done. And if you don't finish at the end of the day, you don't feel like you've done everything you needed to do. You're unbalanced right now. And
yeah, and I get really hard on myself. Yeah.
Right. And your physical body is portraying what your energy is doing. So what I would encourage you to do is, instead of like shutting down your physicality and just not doing anything, is to take some time and get to know your energy. Like sit and with yourself and go into that dark place, because the way that we find ourselves energetically is to go into a dark place and look outward. So go into that dark place and start to like meditate on your energy and where it is and where it's going, and try to find out where you are energetically and start to balance that out. And once you start to balance your energy out, your physical parts, your physical energy of having to do everything is going to start to balance itself all on its own. It's just literally finding your balance, and meditation is a great way to do that.
Yeah, I am working on trying to meditate. It's always been hard for me because I'm just a high energy person.
I understand, and I am too. And one of the things that helped me the most is listening to a visual meditator, somebody who can take you through a visual journey. A lot of these are like activate your 7 chakras, on YouTube, and you can go through a journey of finding out like where you're off, and you'll feel it. You'll start to understand how your energy ebbs and flows, and until you get a real grasp on that, your physical is going to portray all of your imbalances.
Well, of course. Yep. It is.
Thank you, Angie. We've got something else from Crystal.
Thank you.
Hi, Angie. Sorry. That's not right. Okay. So what's coming up for me is you are just trying to crank everything out through the 3rd chakra, through the solar plexus. And the rest of your chakra centers feel really muddy and or occluded. And so Angie's suggestions to me is spot on, is to do some guided meditation, because again, if you have a hard time staying present, and it takes practice sometimes with learning how to meditate, it's to do like a YouTube video. There's several out there, like 5 minutes per chakra, just to get you introduced to that and get you to start, exactly as she said, recognizing what's your energy and what isn't. The other thing that's coming up is there's an underlying fear that's pushing you so hard. It's about being a producer, about your self-worth is being caught up in what you produce and what you do, instead of just
exactly. That's the I feel like I'm really a late bloomer. Like I haven't developed a business or a career, and I'm 63. So that I have to let go of, and I'm making progress.
Yeah, you're making progress. This is not to say you're not making progress. It's more about looking at where did you get that information that says you have to be productive and you have to be this in order to be a person of worth. Your worth.
I think it's society.
Well, be that as it may, wherever it came from, you need to look at where you're holding that belief, because you're pushing yourself to match that, and it's not a good fit for you. That's not how you function. And
I know.
part of this journey will be for you to learn how to love yourself for who you are
Yeah.
and get more information. Get more information through the meditation, and then you can begin to take the baby steps towards the authentic path for you that will feed you and allow you to continue to grow instead of being hedged in by this production thing. It's really, that's why you're so tired. You're like chased by
It's
dread.
I'm not tired. I mean, that's what's causing me losing my appetite and be struggling to survive. So.
Right. It's kind to love yourself for your being, not your doing.
Yes.
We've got a little bit more from Brooke too.
So I'm going to jump then. Thank you.
Hi,
Thank you.
I'm curious if you've had experience doing inner child.
Hi, honey. Thank you.
I'm curious if you've had experience inner child. There, B?
Hi, we've got a little bit more for you, B. Brooke is going to share.
Not really. I kind of have a hard time with things like that. I'm just trying to right now get my appetite back so I can eat, you know, it's like, and learn to slow down. I mean, I'm working on all these things that people have been talking about. I really am working on them. But if anyone could share, like, all right, well, go ahead.
I'm just, if it feels, it feels a relationship and talking with that child, which is what I'm picking up definitely, where this go productivity piece is in that little girl. And if you can find a practitioner or someone to work with to have those conversations to soothe her, and that soothing comes in, that is going to help impact and lessen the fatigue.
Yeah, thanks. Because I didn't have a mother who was like loving or accepting of me or soothing or anything. So I set it up that way. I believe we set it all up before we come here. I set it up that way because I have to learn to forgive and love myself and soothe myself and slow down and calm down.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for letting us attempt to support you on your journey. It sounds like it's a big facing and a big shift that you're in the middle of.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we hope that the rest of the event continues to be supportive of you. You rest while you listen and have it not be too much online.
Oh, absolutely. I already took a page of notes.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, I know we have Liz and Tiff that are here for the first time. I don't know, Haley, Haley, have you asked a question on our panels before? No? Okay, let's see. Haley's next, and then we've got Liz and Tiff. Haley, what is your question? Let's get you unmuted. Haley? Oh. Did you not want to come? Haley, are you ready? Nope, there you are. Did you want to come up on Spotlight or not? I wasn't sure. Is that okay? We can't hear you. Let me see. So Haley, I'm going to bring you up. I'm having trouble. Let's get you unmuted. You're muted? What? No, we still can't hear you. We're having trouble hearing you. Can you have to tap your phone in order to get it to unmute? So we still can't hear you. Can you tap your phone? Can you hear us? You must be able to hear us. I'm sorry, but we can't hear you. I'm so sorry. All right, let's go on to Liz right now. Liz, are you available? And Haley, if you can write your message in chat, we can attempt to answer it that way. Hi, Liz. Thanks for coming. What is your question?
Hi, first time here. So my question is just kind of general. I've saw 2 readings before. I'm not sure how accurate they were. But basically, I just feel kind of stuck career-wise. I feel like it has a lot to do with my fear and worries of being a failure. Kind of like I used to be very overproductive, doing stuff, keeping on my toes, but life has kind of slowed me down a little bit. I feel like I self-sabotage a lot. I fear of the worst things that can happen or worry about them rather than kind of enjoying and being in the moment. I'm very indecisive, and I've only noticed that over the past few years. So that makes me worry. Also, during the readings, I've had 2 people mention the same thing of saying that I have bad luck or like negative energy around me.
Oh,
Because
it sounds hard to be told all these things.
okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure about the validity of these readings. So I was like, well, just take it piece by piece.
Yeah, and I think all the time with readings, it's always the opportunity for you to check in and see what really feels in alignment for you. Like what feels true and feels valid for you. That's true for everyone. And we have an opportunity to look to see, do we have a blind spot? We can't see something, but really it's for you to check in. It sounds like
Gotcha.
some things right? You like that you feel stuck and that you have a lot of fear, right? Maybe anxiety, but a lot of fear. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing. I'm actually in the mental health profession. So I studied social work and I work with people with mental disorders. But like someone else said on here, diagnoses are just a bunch of characteristics we decided to put a label on. So
Yeah. Well, I'm going to share one quick thing and then pass you on. We'll do Angie first and then Crystal. So one thing is that physically, if this feels okay to your body, crouch in like a sumo position. So like a sumo wrestler. And so anytime you feel scared about something else out there in the future or something that might happen, dropping into this position, or if you're sitting, pushing your feet into the ground and tightening your legs, because it brings your energy right here, right now. So you're not up out there. So that's a technique all the time for all kinds of different things.
Okay.
All right,
Kind of
great.
a grounding technique.
It's a grounding technique, yes. And it amazingly empties my mind of whatever the thing is I was scared of. It so works. I mean, it's whatever things it activates in the brain, it's great. So we've got Angie and then Crystal.
Hi, Liz.
Hi.
So yeah, your job and how you're feeling around you is definitely just an aspect of how you're feeling inside, because our manifestations of the world around us is just the physical part of how our energy is inside, because we are just energetic beings. And it's not just, we are hugely energetic beings. And by changing our perception inside, we change the reality in front of us. So do little wins. Listen to the universe. The universe is always trying to talk to you, and it will meet you where you're at. So if you're having fear and trouble and you are somebody who talks to people a lot, start to listen, because ask yourself a question of the day. Ask yourself some random question and then start listening, because I can guarantee most of you're going to hear that answer somewhere along in the mass consciousness. So take those little big wins, but take those wins and start to realize that the universe is talking to you, and it is giving you feedback on how to progress and how to get in that higher vibration. So you start to change your reality, because you're producing how you feel. So if you're unhappy with your job, you are feeling something inside that is making that job come out that way. And you could totally change all of that. Just, it's your perception that needs to change.
Is there any kind of feedback rather than, asking myself those little questions and just kind of listening for them? Because I do feel like that does happen a lot, especially when I start to question, am I really, confident in what I do, or am I actually helping people? I get that response almost immediately, following, yeah, I am confident in what I do. I do a great job. But I guess more in a sense, how I kind of changed my perception. Is there more that I can do?
Oh, absolutely. That changing the perception has to deal with It's a lot of what we call shadow work, working on yourself, finding those blocks, those walls that we come up against. Again, I think meditation is one of the easiest ways to go into yourself and find out where that block is. Because once you find that block and you can like open your perception and find out and open your perception into how removing that block expands your awareness, everything changes. And then when you start to listen to the universe talk to you, it's at a different, right? It's not just the same old, like, am I confident? Am I good at my job? Yeah, you're good at your job. It's more of the little changes you make inside of yourself in a meditation, the little feelings that you're getting. Notice the next day how your perception changes with that. It's something you have to do on a daily basis, though, something you have to constantly be aware. And it sounds like you are very self-aware right now. It sounds like you weren't, and you're starting to find that self-awareness. And that's where we battle ourselves. What does that mean? We're self-aware. So now I know I'm in charge of my manifestation. What do I do with that? Connect with your spirit. Find somebody who can help you connect with your spirit, because the minute you connect with that and realize how energetically powerful we are and how we do change things through our perception, you will start to see that change and you will start to feel that confidence.
An example of a simple thing that you can do, and then I'm going to pass it to Crystal, is your brain is so used to making up all the stories about all the things that could go wrong or all the things where you need to be better. Actively practice making lists of the things that you appreciate about yourself and the things that are good. And if you have trouble getting started, start super, super simple. My ears work to hold up my glasses. Start super simple and have it be a regular practice to make lists of all kinds of things you appreciate about yourself, things you do well. So your brain gets used to doing that instead. And Crystal.
Hi, Liz.
Hi.
Ditto a lot of what Angie shared. Your internal reality is reflected by your external reality. That's exactly what she was telling you about how to shift those beliefs. So I definitely want to put a check mark behind the information that she shared with you. The other thing that's coming up for me is a sense of like your little girl standing in this big room all alone, and there's nobody else around. And she's feeling like, you know, when you're small, all you can see is knees or thighs in front of you because everybody else is tall and big when we're little. And it feels like she's the one who is struggling right now, feeling like she doesn't know how to navigate in the world. And to me, our child aspect or our emotional aspect, that aspect's job isn't how to show us how to be in the world. They add the flavor and the joy and the passion to what we do. They add the creativity to what we do. And it feels like the kind of society that we grow up into, that's not given a lot of permission to do. We get told, no, you got to go do this 40-hour-a-week thing. You got to be productive. You got to crank it out. You got to be what this, you got to be that. And it's extremely pressuring. And that doesn't feel like the way your energy necessarily works. It feels like you can do it, that you can do that, but it doesn't feel very satisfying. It feels more kind of like you're annoyed in a way that that's the way you have to function in the world, that you're not getting to utilize these other parts of yourself. So I would suggest, again, journaling and doing the shadow work of going in and finding her and inviting her into now, into present time, into today, February 6, 2023. Pull her to you. Let her see where you live now. Don't let her feel alone. Let her see where you live now. Let her see your beautiful home, the stuff you have on the walls. And if you have any pets, let them see these cats or dogs and let them touch them and say, look where we live. It's quiet. No one's yelling at us. We can eat the food we like to eat. We can wear the clothes we like to wear. We can listen to whatever music we want. No one's telling us that we're wrong or that we have to do it a different way. Because that's what I feel is there's kind of an imposter syndrome going on as well. Like sometimes you feel like you're just faking it. And then what? What happens if this curtain gets ripped away? Then who am I? What am I? So not to take away from all the talents that you have that you're utilizing and doing, but this is a whole undiscovered country of you that exists. And I would just really encourage you to get it and bring it back and start noticing what that does to your external experience, because it will shift. Just like Angie said, that's the nature of our reality that we're in. And it's going, yeah, go, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I feel like I can resonate a lot with that because I do feel the imposter syndrome. And I've noticed a lot of, I used to be very creative, like during my years, high school, everything, and now I'm not. So I'm just kind of like what you said, faking it to make it, basically. And I kind of do feel like I have to hold my true self back, kind of put on these different masks. And, you know, one day I'd like to have it all together so that way I don't have to be one person here, be another person there. So
You can be all of that in present time. It's just going to take practice because you've got these, I got to back off because anyways, but you can do this. You've just got all these false beliefs about you're not allowed to do it, and it's not enough because it doesn't fit what you've been told you have to be. So it's like, F that, I'm going to be who I am, and start working on I'm going to be who I am and exploring what that means. And you don't have to unveil it at work in the next 24 hours, but you can start exploring that and start to plug it in and feel how that feels and feel how it's different and how it's changing. And then I got to jump off because
Gotta share the space. I know.
yeah, thank you.
All right, great. We've got Brooke and then Dr. Lincoln. Go ahead. And to stay for a minute, I'll let you know when you get to a minute.
Okay. So much of what's already been shared is wonderful. And I'll just add one other piece is an acknowledgement that this looking out for what's coming next, and it is a survival technique that we create as children for, you know, whatever, you know, is there. Sometimes that's trauma and sometimes that's neglect and or other things, and appreciating that that is the mechanism you use to survive and to navigate the world, and then going back to that source where it was created and finding some place to do some work in that area.
okay. Thank you.
Great, thanks. And Dr. Lincoln.
One thing I was clued to the comment you made, Liz, that you didn't want to be this person for some situation and a different person for another. I may have butchered that, but that was kind of my feeling of what you were saying. And one thing that I encourage people to recognize is that they are many different people. And there's usually a reason that those people have been called, even if they're people, other people are projecting on you, you know, roles that you have fallen into that you don't like. There's probably a reason why that role was created, and you probably had some hand in it. Maybe it's not the role you wanted to create, but it got created anyway. And there are lots of other roles, you know, the injured child, the protector, the warrior, you know, those are kind of stereotypes. But in yourself, you'll find them as moods or attitudes or memories. And sometimes they feel like they're yours, and sometimes they feel like you're responding to voices or memories of other people who've influenced you, you know, like your grandmother or your who knows what mentor or teacher. And I just wanted to mention that they all need to be heard, even the bad ones. You want to have a synchrony of yourself rather than a unity. I mean, it would be nice to be unified or at least aligned, but there's going to always, in this complicated world, be different ideas that suggest you behave differently. And you have to have dialogue with them. They need to speak, and maybe that's all they need. They may not need to control you. And this is like the problem with schizophrenics. They can't tell who to follow. Anyway, so I was just encouraging you to sit with those people, ideas or personalities, and see what they have to tell you.
I feel like, both with what you said and Brooke said, a lot of that is either from past experience or a lot of people in my life that have wronged me, because I know I'm one totally different person with my family. Lack of trust, very negative, very moody. So thank you, and Brooke, for kind of pointing that out.
Yeah. I'll say in a tiny bit about your eyes too is it looks like you probably have the inspiration talent. Second, it feels emotions deeply. It naturally sees not only what's here, it sees what's possible. It wants to inspire and motivate people to stretch and reach for what's possible. And when it's second, a lot of it gets turned inwards. So you probably hold yourself to a really high standard, higher than other people, and it could tend to lead to wanting to be perfect, wanting to be so good. And so chances are you've attempted to mold yourself so much to be what other people expect of you, more so than other people. And so there's an unraveling of all that and finding a way to let yourself be you. And also that you want to put your energy into things that you really believe in, and you need other people to move forward enough. And so if in your work you're not able, you have to do things that you don't believe in, or you're not able to move people forward enough, that would also be personally unsatisfying to you.
Yeah. Thank
All
you.
those things. Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks so much for letting us support you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. And we're going to see if we can fit in one more. Haley, you said you can get on sound now.
Yes.
Haley, where are you?
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. All right, great. What is your question?
Oh, you can't hear me?
We can, yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you so much for dealing with that technical difficulty. Wow, I've been through a lot. I've done a lot of shadow trauma work. I've been through immense trauma, a lot of work. I basically didn't have parents. I raised my brothers and myself. Fast forward to now, I feel a lot healed. I feel at peace. I really feel like I'm ascending. I was diagnosed with ADHD. I stopped taking my medication in about October. I'm dealing with difficulties with that as far as articulation and retention for things. I feel like I have to really like reread things, and like things aren't really stick. So that's kind of where my issue is. But the trade-off there is I definitely feel like, as far as when I meditate, I feel like I'm starting to see, like I see outlines. I know that I'm clairaudient, although I don't really hear it. I'm very intuitive. That's basically how I was raised, how I survived, because I don't know how I survived other than myself and my guides. I know, like, I'm very confident with where I am versus where I was, maybe a year ago, but I'm also like, how does that work in my day-to-day life? It makes me feel kind of alone, but I've accepted that. I learned that, I talk to trees, I talk to fairies. How does this all work? What's my trajectory? How do I, just where am I going?
How does
Feels
it work
great,
on the
but kind of
physical
lost a little bit.
plane? How does it work on the physical plane, being in
Yeah.
society? Yeah. Well, it's great that you're here, because part of
Yeah.
what we all do is we hang out with more of us. So that's one big thing.
Yeah. And that's what people tell me. They say, like, you're a healer. And I'm like, oh, I am, but how? Like, how does that work?
And so where in the world are you?
Minnesota.
Okay, yeah, so Minnesota. So part of it, there are other people there in Minnesota, and so finding those people, finding safe space with those people, that's one thing. So look for spiritual shops online, on the map program on your phone, and that's where you'll find some people. Yeah, who wants to answer? That's great. So being online with lots of us and creating community online, you can work, how to say, in some communities that people are not open, and so you can work with a pseudonym. So there are all kinds of ways of being kind of hidden a bit and honoring you. All right, got Dr. Lincoln first, and then Angie.
So I was, I heard you're saying, I don't know why I'm a healer, sort of something like that, or I'm a healer, but how's that work?
Yeah.
And,
Or like how, because I don't really know. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that the shit you're dealing with is coming from around you, coming from your past, coming from your situation, your society, your family, your lineage. And when you work on yourself, you're fixing all of that, or you're working on all of that. So it's like you're moving into the future. You're like the point of a spear, and you don't even notice how much of a wake you leave behind you. But you you basically cutting through the spiritual trouble, and everything you figure out becomes a brighter light for everyone else. You don't necessarily have to turn around and hand it to them, because you can't really hand anybody anything. They either get it, or they're attracted to it, or they're not. You don't have to do anything to be a healer except to exfold and heal yourself. So yeah, I mean, what Lorelei said, it's very important to surround yourself with the energies that are conducive. You know, if you want to go fight dragons, okay, but don't expect them to be anything else but, you know, deadly. You probably make more. Oh, that's interesting.
These are all the spiritual shops that came up in Minnesota. Just giving you an idea. There's stuff.
So you know, just
Thank
open
you.
yourself to it. You don't have to do much. You just have, I mean, it's funny because sometimes you don't get what you expect. But the best you can do is put out positive energy, and wait for things to come. And if they're not coming, it's because you're not close enough, or they can't find you. I mean, you could question yourself, but man, it's always good to question yourself, but never to undermine yourself. I'm getting confused, so I'll stop there.
Hey, let's go to
That
Angie.
makes
And I
sense.
totally have more we can share.
Thank
And I put
you.
in the chat, there are a couple of us that run drop-in groups for people opening and growing intuitive businesses. So lots and lots of support you can get. Angie.
Okay.
So you incarnate
you.
into this life, learning the lessons that you didn't quite get in your last incarnation. So these hard lessons that you learned when you were a child, it was to get you past to the moment where you become self-aware, and then you can look back into those past and realize why you went through it in the first place. You have to learn those lessons in incarnation, or you're going to have to do it again next incarnation. But by learning these lessons and by understanding and healing yourself, and just by talking to other people, you are teaching, you are a healer. And by your vibration raising, when you talk to other people around you, you're raising their vibration as well. That is healing. And as you're talking to other people and you're understanding how you are responding and reacting to other people and how you are giving them you're intuitive, right? So you're giving people messages when you talk to them through your experiences and through their own. Odds are you're channeling their higher self to your higher, you guys are channeling higher self to higher self. You're healing. Learn what that is on a day-to-day basis, talking to people. And then you start to understand who you are and what you have to offer. And then you know kind of where you stand on the kind of healing that you do. It's all of us start the same way, is learning what we went through, why we went through it, getting on the other side of being self-aware, and then understanding how we can use that to help others. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I first became a coach before I realized I was doing anything intuitive, even though I was doing it at the time. And I went to bed, woke up at 2 a.m., totally panicked, found a URL, bought it, started to make a website the next few days, and I just opened it up for the first 2 weeks of like, I'll just coach anyone for free, until I felt confident that I could offer something in my coaching. And then I only charged $10 an hour, and then $25 an hour. And that's how I started. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Chances are you've already done it. So look around at all these ways in your life you're already doing this with people. How simply your presence is healing, how you take people to the trees. You know, how you introduce context to people that are healing to them, like you're already doing it. So look at how you're already doing it. Let people know, the people that feel safe for you, let them know that you're willing and available. And as you feel comfortable and confident, do it by donation or ask to be paid, step by step. All these fairs started because someone said, hey, let's have an event where several of us share our work. So I had 6 people around my living room, right? Small chairs and small tables, or folding chairs and small tables, and we just ran a fair that had 86 people, and we're getting ready to run one that's now up to 81, 82 now, and we're probably going to expand beyond 86. I mean, so yeah, step by step. Well, thank you so much for jumping in and coming back and getting the sound fixed and letting us answer your question.
Thank you.
You're in the right place. I hope you enjoy bouncing around from room to room and connecting with all of us tonight. We all have our stories of how we've done this. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. Well, we have Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, let's see. I need to make some of our practitioners co-hosts because I am currently the host. I got to hand it back to Anissa. Are any other practitioners needing to share their screens or record in their breakout rooms? Okay, great. All right, Badra is a co-host. We're getting ready to split into breakout rooms. And let's see, I've got the list now of which are the breakout rooms we're having today. Here we go. So we've got our breakout rooms open. Practitioners are going to go to breakout rooms. Please do know we do have a few people that are not here. We've had a few that specifically have said now they can't make it, and there are a few we haven't heard from yet. So we're hoping that they do show up. They may be just coming late. So these are the rooms that we have open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. And you're able to move around from room to room on your own. We have a number of talks that are happening and scheduled throughout the whole time. The first few that are coming up are right here. I'm putting them in chat at the moment. So the first 2 that are starting in just 6 minutes, we have Healthy Boundaries, a group energy healing with Hannah in room number 6. And we have Stem Cell Activation and Age Reversal with Badra in number 3. You're welcome to move around to any of the other rooms as well. You can look in the, when you click on breakout rooms at the bottom of your screen, or when you tap your phone, it might be on the top left, you can see who's in all the different rooms. So you can see if a practitioner's in the room. Feel free to bounce from room to room. Please don't go into the rooms marked private room, private session. There may be people in there doing a private session. If you want to do a private session with someone, you can go chat with them in their room. If you can't find them, come on back to the main room and Anissa will help you. To get back to the main room, oh, Hannah needs to be a co-host too. To get back to the main room, at the bottom of your screen, it should say leave. Just make sure you say leave room and you'll come back to the main room. If you get kicked out, just go back to jointhefair.com and Anissa will let you in. And trying to, we got more people coming. What else? Anissa, what else do I need to tell them right now?
I think you've covered it.
All right. Yeah. So anytime you need help, come back and Anissa will help you. There's a fair schedule posted online at jointhefair.com. You can scroll down the page and see it. And there's also a fair schedule breakout room. So you can always go into that room. And I've got it on that computer right there. So you can see it on the screen. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's great doing this all together. And I'm going to be unspotlighting us. And practitioners, move to your room, and everyone else move around and have a great time. And you can always come back to the main room and chat with Anissa. Practitioners, you're welcome to move from room to room too. And practitioners, if you have any questions, come on back and Anissa will be able to help you. We're thrilled to be able to do this all together. Thank you, everyone, for being here and doing this together in community. This is how we do it all the way in Minnesota, right? There aren't enough people locally. We can connect with each other all around the world on Zoom. So this is great. We have lots of panels and all kinds of different events. We also have a feedback forum. If you're willing to share feedback with us on today, we'll put you into a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. And we will get that into chat right now, and we'll be giving it to you in breakout rooms later as well. Thanks everyone who jumped in and asked questions. It's a great way for us to be of service and to help share with other people what we do and have everyone learn from all of the questions. Great. Yeah, so Nissa just put it in chat. So if you'd like to share feedback with us about today, that would be helpful. Give us your email address and we'll put you into that drawing. All right, and practitioners are in breakout rooms. Let's see, I'm going to go post again the 2 talks. Are you doing it? And this is also going to make announcements throughout the entire time about which talks are coming up. So you'll get notification as they're coming, 5 minutes ahead, and then as the talks are starting. Great. So enjoy moving around. And someone's got a question, and I'm going to jump to a breakout room and help someone.
Okay.
Hi, great that you're here.
Hi, Did I
You are
do this right?
You're totally in a good spot. Let me go figure out. She's probably still in the main room. So let me see. I might even be able to just whisk her in here. Okay, let me see. Which room are we? I'm just going to whisk her in and see if she'll come. She might have had a question, wanted to do something herself too, but where did I send her? No. I'm trying to find it.
This is great, by the way. I
Here
really
she is.
enjoy this.
Great. She's here. I'm glad you're having a good time. And like her fairy work is totally totally aligned with what you're looking for. So yay.
I know. That's why I was like, there's another.
So B, to join a breakout.
Oh yeah, sorry. I got to turn on. Let me just say, so everything is at MeWeFairs.com. Thanks for coming. get the recording off.